Welcome back to the course. If you've been following along, we covered the requirements in our first video and dove deep into MCP theory in the second video. Today, we're going to bring it all together and show you the complete system architecture that powers our M365 admin agent. This is the video where everything clicks. You'll see exactly how all the pieces fit together, understand the data flow from user query to Excel download, and most importantly, see why we made each architectural decision. By the end of this video, you'll have the complete blueprint for building enterprise-scale AI-powered administrative systems. And trust me, this architecture pattern will serve you well beyond just M365 administration. Let me start by showing you the big picture. Our M365 admin agent perfectly implements the four-component MCP architecture that we covered in our theory video, creating a system that's both powerful today and future-proof for tomorrow. Based on the complete MCP architecture introduced by Anthropic in November 2024, we have four key layers. The user interface entry point, where administrators interact using natural language. The MCP host agentic AI coordinates the system and manages client connections. The MCP client embedded connection managers within our functions that maintain one server relationships. The MCP server, MCP M365 server, provides standardized access to Microsoft Graph through resources, tools, and prompts Microsoft Graph data source. The actual M365 services and data isn't just a traditional API integration, it's a full implementation of the MCP protocol that Anthropic calls the USB-C equivalent for AI systems. Every component follows MCP standards, making our system extensible and interoperable with the growing MCP ecosystem. Here's what makes this architecture special. It's not just about connecting these pieces. It's about how they implement the three MCP primitives: resources, tools, prompts, how they scale using the four component pattern, and how they can evolve as the AI ecosystem grows. Let me walk you through each component and explain why it exists and how it contributes to the overall system. This is where your administrators spend their time. Instead of jumping between multiple admin portals, they have one simple interface where they can type natural language queries. Think about the cognitive load we're eliminating here. No more remembering which portal has which data. No more learning different query syntaxes for different services. Just plain English, show me Teams service issues from last week and export to Excel. But here's the architectural beauty. This interface layer is completely decoupled from the data processing layer. We could replace the web interface with a chatbot, a mobile app, or voice commands, and the rest of the system wouldn't change at all. This perfectly implements the MCP host primitive from our theory video. The agentic AI function acts as the AI coordinator that manages the entire system and maintains connections to multiple MCP servers. Following the MCP host pattern, it's making intelligent decisions. Resource discovery: which MCP resources does this query need? Tool invocation: what tools should be called and in what order? Client management: how to route requests through the appropriate MCP clients? Response coordination: how should the response be formatted for the user? Intent analysis: what's the user's actual goal behind this request? The key architectural decision here was to make this component stateless while maintaining the MCP host responsibilities. Each request is independent, which gives us automatic scaling, better reliability, and easier testing, all while following the MCP standard for host behavior. Here's where our architecture gets really interesting and showcases the flexibility of the MCP for component model. Instead of having separate MCP server and client processes, we embedded both functionalities directly into our Azure functions. The MCP client implementation, our tall MCP server method in the agentic AI function, acts as the MCP client. It maintains the one relationship with our embedded server and handles all the protocol translation. The MCP server implementation, our MCP M365 SERVER class, implements the full MCP server primitive, providing resources, service announcements, health status, usage data, tools, Excel generation, report creation, data export prompts, ready for phase 2, report formatting templates. Why did we make this embedded choice? Performance, simplicity, and MCP compliance. Performance: by embedding both client and server, we eliminate network hops and serialization overhead. When our MCP host needs Microsoft Graph data, it's an in-process function call through the MCP client to the MCP server, not multiple network requests. Simplicity: no separate infrastructure to manage, no additional scaling concerns, no extra points of failure. MCP compliance: despite being embedded, every component still follows MCP standards. The host discovers capabilities, clients maintain server relationships, and servers expose the three primitives properly. This embedded approach proves that MCP isn't just about network protocols. It's about architectural patterns that work whether components are distributed or embedded. Microsoft Graph is our single point of truth for all 365 data, but integrating with Graph properly requires handling auth2 authentication flows, token management and renewal, rate limiting and error handling, API version management, service specific query patterns. Our architecture handles all of this complexity in the MCP server layer, so the AI layer never has to think about it.
This is where data becomes action.
The Excel export function takes the structured data from our MCP server and creates professional Excel reports with multiple sheets, formatting, and metadata. But architecturally, this is also an MCP component. It receives standardized input and produces standardized output, which means it can be called by any MCP host, not just our specific admin agent. How the system works: a natural request flow. When a user submits a request like get Teams service announcements and export to Excel, here's what happens behind the scenes. User input: an administrator simply types their request in natural language. No need for complex commands or technical syntax. Intent recognition: the agentic AI system immediately understands what the user wants. It recognizes they're asking for Teams data, specifically service announcements, and that they want it exported to Excel format. Secure authentication: the system seamlessly connects to Microsoft Graph using pre-configured enterprise credentials. This happens automatically in the background, maintaining security without bothering the user. Data retrieval: Microsoft Graph fetches the requested team service announcements. The system intelligently applies appropriate filters and timeframes based on the user's intent. Smart processing: the raw data gets cleaned up and structured into a format that's perfect for Excel export. Any inconsistencies or errors are handled automatically. Delivery: the user receives their data in exactly the format they requested, ready to use, no additional processing needed. The entire process flows smoothly from natural language input to actionable output, typically completing in just over a second. Here's the architectural beauty. If we were building this without MCP, we'd have tight coupling between every step. With MCP, each step only knows about its immediate inputs and outputs. When a user wants their data in Excel format, the system handles this seamlessly through a dedicated export pipeline. Export requests: whether the user clicks generate Excel or simply mentions export in their query, the system recognizes this need and automatically triggers the export process. Smart routing: the request flows to a specialized Excel generation tool, which is designed specifically for creating professional, well-formatted spreadsheets. Data preparation: the system takes whatever data has been retrieved and prepares it for Excel. This includes cleaning up the information, organizing it logically, and ensuring everything will display properly in spreadsheet format. Professional Excel creation: the system generates a complete Excel file with multiple sheets when needed, proper formatting, timestamps, and all the metadata that makes the file immediately useful. Everything is handled in memory for speed and security. Instant delivery: the finished Excel file downloads directly to the user's browser with proper file handling. no intermediate steps or complicated processes. Modular design, the beauty of this architecture is its flexibility. The Excel generation works independently of where the data comes from. So we can create Excel reports from any data source simply by connecting different data providers. Our security architecture creates a seamless chain of protection that starts with your organization's existing Microsoft 365 environment and extends through every aspect of data access and handling. When the system first connects to your Microsoft services, it leverages Azure Active Directory with OAuth 2 authentication, the same enterprise grade security foundation that already protects your organization. This isn't a separate security system you need to manage, it's a natural extension of your existing Microsoft security infrastructure. The authentication flow follows the principle of minimal access, requesting only the specific Microsoft Graph permissions needed for each operation. This granular approach connects directly to your organization's existing permission policies, allowing IT administrators to grant precisely the right level of access without compromising broader security. Whether you need read only access to service announcements or more comprehensive administrative capabilities, the system adapts to your security requirements. Behind the scenes, all credentials flow through secure channels using environment variables during development with a clear path to Azure Key Vault integration for production deployments. This progression ensures that as your implementation moves from testing to enterprise deployment, security actually strengthens rather than becoming more complex. The system maintains this security posture through automatic token management and renewal, creating an uninterrupted chain of authenticated access. When authentication challenges do arise, robust error recovery mechanisms provide clear feedback administrators while maintaining the security boundary, ensuring that troubleshooting never compromises protection. Throughout this entire process, HTTPS encryption protects every communication, creating an end to end security envelope that integrates seamlessly with your existing Microsoft 365 compliance and security policies. Built for scale, performance that grows with your needs. Our performance architecture is designed around a simple principle: the system should feel just as responsive whether you're the first user of the day or the 200th person making simultaneous requests. This scalability starts with Azure Functions consumption based scaling, which automatically adjusts resources based on real demand. When usage is light, the system runs efficiently with minimal resource consumption. As demand increases throughout your organization, additional compute resources spin up automatically to handle the load without any manual intervention or performance degradation. The system's responsiveness comes from several interconnected optimizations working together. We've implemented an embedded architecture that eliminates startup delays, ensuring that even the first request of the day responds immediately. Memory optimization creates efficient data processing pipelines that handle large datasets without consuming excessive resources, while concurrent processing allows the system to juggle multiple user requests simultaneously without creating bottlenecks. This architectural foundation delivers consistent real world performance that users can depend on. Agentic AI responses feel instantaneous, regardless of the complexity of the natural language query or the amount of data being processed. Even when generating comprehensive Excel reports with thousands of records, the system completes the entire process from query to download smoothly and efficiently. The system maintains this performance level while supporting hundreds of concurrent users, backed by Azure's enterprise grade infrastructure that provides exceptional uptime reliability. This means your team can rely on consistent access to Microsoft 365 data reporting capabilities, whether they're working during peak business hours or accessing the system during off peak times. This performance foundation ensures the as your organization's data needs grow, and more teams adopt the system, the user experience remains consistently fast and reliable. Today, we explored the complete architectural blueprint for our Microsoft 365 admin agent built on the Model Context Protocol framework. This system transforms complex Microsoft 365 administration tasks into simple, natural language interactions. Core system architecture. Our design follows a clean, linear flow that takes users from natural language queries all the way to actionable results. The architecture flows seamlessly from user input through the MCP host agentic AI function down to the MCP server with MCP Graph Client connecting to Microsoft Graph Services, and finally through our MCP tool, Excel export system for immediate file downloads. Key design principles. We've built this system around five fundamental principles that ensure both enterprise reliability and user simplicity. Our modular architecture gives each component a single clear responsibility, making the system easier to maintain and extend. The configuration driven approach uses JSON configs that allow easy addition of new Microsoft 365 services without code changes. Natural language processing creates a user friendly query interface that eliminates the need for administrators to learn complex commands or syntax. Standardized responses ensure consistent data formats across all endpoints, while performance optimization delivers rapid response times that keep productivity flowing. The four critical flows we examined, four interconnected architectural flows that work together to create the complete user experience. Request flow architecture showed how natural language queries transform into Microsoft 365 data through intelligent parsing, secure authentication, and efficient data retrieval, all happening transparently behind a simple user interface. Excel export flow demonstrated our modular design philosophy in action with export functionality that operates independently of data sources, allowing us to generate professional reports from any Microsoft 365 service. Security and authentication architecture revealed how we extend rather than replace your existing Microsoft security infrastructure. Building on Azure Active Directory and graph permissions your organization already trusts and manages. Scalability and performance architecture outlined how the system grows with organizational needs through Azure Functions consumption based scaling, memory optimization, and concurrent processing that maintains responsive performance regardless of user load. This architectural foundation creates a system that's enterprise ready yet user friendly, secure without complexity, and scalable without compromising the intuitive experience that makes this tool valuable for IT professionals. With this solid architectural blueprint in place, we're ready to move from design to implementation in our next session.